Hello everyone, it is finally time for the April garden tour. Now usually I like to do these a little bit earlier in the month. I try to do it as close to the first of the month as possible, but Mother Nature had other plans. So basically every single day so far in April it has either rained or snowed. But fingers crossed, with the weather forecast on my app, although it has lied already, I think we might have 60 degrees and like 50-degree sunny days in just a couple of days. So I'm so excited for that. Now, not to be too Debbie Downer at the beginning of a garden tour, but the rain, the constant rain and the cool weathers have always been an issue for me in the spring in my garden. And I know that the rain we've got already has killed some of my plants. Now I do a whole what has died in my garden video every year, and so I will cover everything that didn't make it, but there are some things that sadly are dead that I'm going to show you in this video, but most things are alive, and that's what matters. So a little quick refresh on my decks. I have two rooftop decks. They are 3 stories up. They are each about 18 by 19 square feet. Both of them are full sun. The east deck, which is in the back, gets the morning sun, so it's a little bit gentler. The deck that we're on right now is in the front, faces west. This gets the afternoon sun. So with that, let me show you what's alive and dead in my garden for April. Let's do a quick sweep of the deck first so you can get an idea of the layout. Now I did put together last month a whole video on where all of my containers are from, and also some things I would do differently if I was starting from scratch. So I'll link that down below. But let's start here in this center raised bed. This is the largest raised bed that I have in my garden. And right now there are perennials that I planted last fall that I'm waiting to see if they've overwintered, but everything that's in this bed will be removed. The soil will be refreshed. I don't empty out the soil in any container. I just add some more nutrients to it, but all of this will be removed once I'm, 1, ready to plant it, and 2, can tell what has survived. So what I put in here was Rudbeckia, Echinacea. After my zinnias kind of died out, although I do have plans to get them to last a little bit longer this season, but these are going to be repotted somewhere else where they can hopefully live permanently. So I can see that there is new growth here on this plant. So this, pretty soon, I'll chop down the old stalks and then I will repot those. This one, for example, I don't think I see anything yet. Nothing yet here. But I do see green popping up here, popping up there, a little bit on these two. So all of those, assuming they continue to survive, will be repotted elsewhere in the garden. So coming around here then, I have empty pots. This is the Aquapot Light self-watering container. These are just other empty pots. All this soil I will reuse this year. This is my container of soil. I'll link that video down below in case you're seeing it, but the container of old potting soil for pots that I emptied out in the fall and moved inside. Let's head back over to this raised bed. So every summer, this is my Gomphrena bed. It's been that way since 2021, but for right now, I do have radishes that I've sown that are slowly starting to come up. I planted these a little bit earlier than I normally would because February and early March were so warm, so much warmer than normal at least. So I was nervous that the cool season would be shorter. And then of course, Mother Nature is never predictable. So, well, I guess her unpredictability is what's predictable about her. But then the temperatures dropped, we got more snow. So these are now starting to come up. I also have lettuce sown there in the back. And then this plant, which again, I didn't plant, but it is coming back. It kind of looks like it might be Echinacea. Let me know if you know for sure. I think I've asked that in the last couple of videos. So if you know what this is, let me know. But I didn't purposely plant it here. Now, facing this direction is probably my favorite view right now, just because you can see the most green. So coming this way, this is my empty herb rack. I will fill that with herbs and probably get some potted up this month. In these containers here are all perennials. So first in this tin, which I did drill holes into to make sure it had some drainage, I have strawberries, and there is some green there, so I think they are coming back. This is one of my 2 raspberry bushes. I think this was the original one. Look how good this rhubarb looks. I believe this is either year 3 or year 4, but it's the year when you can harvest a lot from it. So I'm really excited. It looks so good right now. And then behind it is the raspberry bush that I propagated a couple years ago from this raspberry. So if you want the same raspberry in your garden but multiple plants, you don't have to buy multiple plants. Just dig up a runner and replant it. Now over here is supposed to be another rhubarb. I haven't seen it coming up yet. So this is like a potential to be dead, which if it is, I don't think I'm that upset, because as much as I like have memories tied to rhubarb, I don't use it as much as I think I would use other things in the garden. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I am concerned that, I mean, it's the same exact plant. I think it's the Victoria rhubarb. Same plant, same pot. But sometimes plants are just behind one another. So we'll see what happens. Also on this side are my 3 30-gallon grow bags. Now I did go ahead and empty out, I had zinnia stalks that were still in there, but they basically were falling out and over. So I did remove those. I haven't done anything to the soil yet. Again, I will refresh it. This is kind of where I have my veggie patch. So my tomatoes, my peppers, cucumber, zucchini, all of that I like to grow in this section. And it looks like I might have some chives growing back that I had in here last year. So it's always exciting when things surprise you and pop back. And also, what are you? I don't know what you are. I guess we'll hang out and see what happens there, but it might just be a weed that I will pull at some point. This bed. This bed here is very interesting. I don't think in the 3 years I've had it, I've been like super happy with what I planted in it. So what my goal was this past fall was to get some more natives in my garden. So I sowed native seeds in the fall. You know, a couple of them I think will take a little bit longer to germinate, but I should be seeing some this spring, hopefully. What has been interesting is that you can see right now the soil is relatively flat, but I've kind of flattened it out a few times, and I'll come out and it looks like there's like been little holes all over. So I don't know if the birds, which have never really bothered my garden before, even though we do get, you know, some pigeons and birds up here, I don't know if they found it and maybe ate some seeds. I don't know, but I don't really see anything germinating here yet, which I feel like since things are germinating elsewhere, I should see signs of something, but we'll see. The only things I do see are these plants, which I don't remember planting. Well, I know I didn't plant bulbs here last fall, so I don't know what these are and what's going to happen, but we'll kind of see what becomes of these sprouts. They are still like relatively firm in the ground, so I don't think the bulbs have rotted like they have elsewhere. But again, we'll kind of just see what happens. I guess there is a sprout here of something, but I don't see as much as I would expect to see right now in this bed. Coming over this way behind my potentially dead rhubarb, I have some pansies. Now these I planted in the fall. I have just left things in the fall because sometimes I don't want to clean up, and they came back. So that is really exciting. These will stay in here until I empty it out for my summer crops, but I'm excited to have plants that come back and add some color to the early spring garden. And then also look at how well my peas are doing. So all of these in this row are peas. I did 2 different varieties, and then I need to go ahead and add some more twine because I use the sunflower stalks as trellises, so I need to like wrap some twine around the bottom once these get taller so they have something to cling on to. But those at least have germinated really well, and I'm pretty sure everything else in here that is green near the front are pansies and some violas from last fall. These are stands I use for herbs that are just sitting here now. More, well, sort of empty grow bags. This is a root ball. And then I will again be reusing this soil. And then over here is just a collection of more pots and grow bags on my flower cart and my garbage bag and a tarp that I should probably go ahead and store that. I might let it dry since it's been raining the last few days first, but that's really it right now on the front deck. April is kind of the month where I get a lot of things going inside, but not a lot will be swapped out here until May. So now let's go head over to the back deck where there are some more dead things, but there are some things that are still looking really good. We're on the back deck now, and no offense to the front deck, but this is definitely my favorite view with the church over there. I just really started gardening on this last year because I was trying not to take over every outdoor space. And this deck is slightly smaller just because the air conditioning units take up some space there. But I have taken it over, and I'm so happy that I did. Our furniture is still covered, but might be coming off soon so we can enjoy the upcoming warm weather. But over here again, a lot of my garden right now is just piles of stuff that I will be using in the garden. I did want to point these out because I use these a lot. These are 19-inch, they're like coated cages, so they're shorter than what I would use for like an indeterminate tomato. And I like that they're green because they blend in. I use these on my dinner plate dahlias. I'm going to use them on giant zinnias. I use them on like my pepper plants. I really like them, and I can only find them at Home Depot. You can order them online from Home Depot, but I've tried to find other ones from like Amazon or different retailers, and they aren't like this. So if you do need some shorter cages, those are just from Home Depot, and I'll link those down below. But now let's do a little tour. I'll show you what's alive and what is dead. First off, this rose bush was doing so well. Now this one I have been moving in and out because the temperatures at night are still a little bit too cold for it in a pot. It's outside right now getting sun. It was covered in leaves, and then it was like overnight, in 1 second, all of the leaves started to die. And I don't know what it is because it's not like it was left out and there was a cold snap. I just came up one morning and all of the leaves were dead. Now, the stems themselves look green, so I don't think the whole plant is dead. But let me know your thoughts. If you think this is a goner, if you think it's not, I don't exactly know what to do with it, but I am still kind of treating it like it's alive and just crossing my fingers that the leaves come back. But I just never seen something like that happen before where I can't pinpoint one thing that stressed the plant and then it all of a sudden started to die. So let me know your thoughts. Coming over to my pot collection here. Other things that are dead are definitely the tulips in this pot rotted. These were stored in the garage over winter, which was great because that kept the moisture out. I did bring them out once they started to grow so they could get sunlight, and then I honestly probably should have moved them back inside when it rained, and I didn't, and so it is my fault, but also Mother Nature's fault. But you can see that tulips kind of flopped over. I pulled out a sprout right here that easily came out and was rotted. So I don't have high hopes for the remaining bulbs in here. These are allium bulbs, which I 100% forgot I planted until I found the packet of them. So allium seem to be doing well. Peony here that's doing well. Peony here. My daffodils have been through a lot, but they're still blooming. This is also alliums. And then I have my peppermint patty, and I've been saying Virginia. And then I saw someone else say Virginia. So I think I've been pronouncing it wrong, but look at it. Look at the flowers are just starting to open, which is making me happy because I got this scent from Proven Winners. Actually, let me pull this up. Here is the tag. But I got this scent from Proven Winners last year, and it's the blooms come up in April and May, but I got it in June, so I missed the flowers. But look at how cute these are. Now, this is currently in full sun because basically all of my decks, except for a few corners, are full sun. It does like shade to part sun, so this is probably going to be moved down to the parkway or in a front pot. It is semi-evergreen as well. I do need to clean up some of the leaves from last year. Like this is an old leaf I can prune off, and then we have new leaves coming up there. This was also overwintered in the garage, but isn't that so cute? I love it. I love this so much, and I want to get some more of them. Now in this bed, we do have some flowers blooming. These are the first flowers to bloom. I've forgotten if I've shown them already in a video or not. These were just a bag called Wild Tulip Mix. The bag made it look like there was going to be multiple colors, but they've all been this like creamy yellow, which is still really pretty. So those have been blooming now maybe for about a week, and they are early spring blooms, so that's really exciting. I am glad that I do have some flowers and not everything is rotted. But here you can see that fly right there is climbing around on some of the sprouts that I've been able to easily pull out. Now, how you can tell if something is rotted is, let me see here, just give it a very, very, very gentle tug. So that still feels like it's stuck in there. Let's try this one that looks like it might be dead. Let's see. Gentle tug. Yeah, see how easy that comes out? So if it comes out that easy, I mean, this is rotted off of the bulb. Again, from the moisture, because these 3 beds were tarped. The plants came up. I had to remove the tarp so it didn't squish the plants. So I do have plans for next year to make that a little bit more easy to manage. But the rain that we've been getting, because the soil hasn't been drying out in between, the temperatures are too cold for that, it's just been sitting in soggy soil. But again, at least I have something. And I have seen pollinators on these, so that makes me happy. something else that I'm pretty sure it's dead, that wasn't just a couple weeks ago, are my 2 hollies. So these I got at the end of last season because I wanted some evergreens on my deck. Now these were a zone 5, which if I was going to overwinter in pots, I really should go, because I'm zone 6A, I really should go 4A or lower. So I knew I was taking a risk with the cold, but they survived winter. I had them moved over into the corner. I had burlap on them. I had other things around the pots to insulate the root ball, and they survived. And then last week, they were fine, and now they are not. So you can see here, they usually do lose about 1/3 of their leaves. So that is normal that there was leaf drop. But the leaves are now turning brown. The ends of those branches are brown. And from everything I've read, that's due to inconsistent watering. So either too much or too little. And I know the answer to this is too much. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to make it to me. So we'll probably have to get some new evergreens, maybe ones that are a little bit larger so they cover the pot so that not as much water gets into the pot. So let me know if you think there's any chance that's not a goner, or if there's any evergreens you think might work there. And if I get new evergreens, I will get some that are probably at least down to zone 3 would be ideal. But they were only $20 each, so I told myself if they died, I wouldn't be too sad. This center bed here, I haven't had any flowers yet, but you can see there are some buds in there. Some of these just don't look great, and some look like they're doing okay. I'm just not very excited. Let's give it a little tug. You guys seem fine. Usually the larger the plants get before the rain, more likely they will survive is what I found. So I don't know, we'll see, but no blooms yet in this bed. And I also did have some of the wild tulips here, so that's the only thing that has bloomed in this bed. And then here's my other holly, which again, you can see, I think now, how brownish the leaves are, which again, they were not brown. They were perfectly green and beautiful until the last few days. Now let's come over this direction and end on a happy note of things that are blooming, because I bought them in the spring from a garden center. But first, this one still looks okay. I have done a scratch test. I'm not surprised that it hasn't bloomed or leafed out yet, but there are buds on it. This is my beach plum tree, which has really pretty white flowers in spring. It leaves out in the summer, and then I think the leaves turned like a golden yellow in the winter. When I got this, I was told I only needed one for it to actually produce fruit, and then everything on the internet said that is not the case. I'm trying to decide, because I love it as it is just a tree, even if I never get beach plums from it. But I'm trying to decide if maybe I want to get another one or not. So now, we'll come back here to my bucket planter, which I need to go through all the names. I know that people posted a lot of really good names for it. Now I feel like I'm almost overwhelmed. What's that phenomenon when you have too many options and it makes a decision harder? But I do want to assign her a name soon. I think I'm leaning towards Daphne. I don't know yet though. But everything in here survived the snow, and we didn't really get down below like 32, just kind of right around that. But these survived the cold just fine. So I have the ranunculus, snapdragons, tulips in here, and some violas. So this at least looks pretty and makes me happy when I come outside. So that is my April garden tour. Now, depending on how many things I get planted by the time I do the May garden tour, I might split these up, have one tour for the front, one tour for the back, just so the videos aren't too long and I can go more in depth, because I can talk and talk. So that might be the plan in May, but again, depending on how many things are planted. But do you know, it's normal for things to die, even though it does make me sad, and usually I learn something that I can do differently next year. But it feels so good that now the sun is shining. I feel like spring is really here and on the way. The trees are like just barely starting to leaf out, so I'm excited. But let me know if you have any questions. I will try to list down everything. Let's see, I'll have the container video listed down if you have any questions, the soil refresh video. But if you have any other questions about my garden, let me know, and then I will see you in the next video. Bye.